Hey, if you don't mind, Fitz, I know you have a list of questions there, but could we maybe address Jolene's question here right quick? It says, when you have time, I have a question from the first video. If you are treating a Medicare patient for wellness, fitness, or something uncovered, do you submit a note to Medicare with the ABN or no?
Good question. I do have time for your question, Jolene. So the answer to that question would be no, you won't submit it, but I will still have a patient fill it out. So all the ABN says is that the service you're providing is not covered and Medicare possibly won't pay for this service. So that's what the ABN is pretty much. It's called an advanced, ABN stands for Advanced Beneficiary Notice for you guys. And if you guys look on the sheet, it's a form that has different things you can check off and the patient can sign. And pretty much there's one section that says that, I understand that these services that I'm getting may not be reimbursed by Medicare. And that's something like a CYA that you want to have just in case anything happens. But you want to have that form, but you don't have to submit that to Medicare. Medicare doesn't want that form unless they ask you for that form. So okay. Very good question.
All right. Is that true with all ABNs, that you just need to have it on file in case Medicare asks for it?
Yes. So just have it on file just in case. And typically, if you're doing any service this is what I feel is best practice. If you're doing any service where you're doing some kind of uncovered service with a patient that you may suspect they may want to submit to Medicare or not, you're not sure, have them send an ABN saying that that they understand that they run the risk of not getting covered. I know it has changed now, but you can even have them do it if you're doing services over the threshold, or you feel that some of the services that you're doing with the patient may not be covered. Have the patient sign it to understand that, hey, Medicare may or may not pay for these services. So the ABN is a pretty good form to have as a CYA.
Nice.
Okay, so
this is your question, Jolene. Great question.
Yes, great question, Jolene. So this question says, hey, Fitz, can I ask you a quick Medicare question? I have a person who called me today interested in more PT, one win, but she is Medicare patient with a BCBS as secondary. She is willing to pay cash. She has MS and wants to get stronger. I wasn't sure if that would count as wellness or how should I approach that. So for this question, we kind of answered it a little bit with the ABN, but I also want to answer what's wellness and what's skilled, what's unskilled, what's covered, what's not covered. So with Medicare, the one thing you want to remember is that a covered service, what that means, it means it's a skilled service. What skilled mean is that you are skilled as a physical therapist in this scenario to treat the patient. So for example, let's say that David's great grandmother needed physical therapy. Well, she has 100 years old. I know. Just kidding. But let's say that she
wait, I think you just called me old.
You said that, I didn't. So let's say she calls and says, hey, I saw you and you're in my great grandson's group, and I have some issues with my knee and I want to get treated for it. So the first thing you want is to check when you're seeing her is asking her, is this knee pain limiting her from doing anything? Is it a functional limitation? Is she not able to walk to get her groceries or walk to the bathroom? In those cases, that's considered skilled because you're doing a service where you're trying to get them better for a functional task. Also, you want to make sure that what you're doing for this patient or this client is something that needs your skills as a physical therapist, that your skills are needed, your mind, from all the knowledge that you gain from your personal experience to your clinical experience to your classroom, you need those skills to treat this person. Right. So that's another thing. Now, let's say that we have the exact same scenario where David's great grandmother came and said, hey, I see you're in David's group. I like you, my great grandson, and I want you to get me stronger because, I'm in shape, I'm fit, I can do everything, but I want to get stronger. In that case, that would be unskilled. And why that's unskilled for? Because she can do everything. Remember, she said she's in shape, she's fit, she's doing all her ADL, she's doing everything. She doesn't need therapy to get better or gain function, she wants therapy to get stronger. Medicare doesn't pay for, and I think I said this last time, they don't pay for motivation. They don't pay for your overall wellness. They are paying for rehabilitation to get you back to a level of function. Remember, for Medicare, as physical therapists, we are trying to get you back to functioning in a certain way so you can live your life more comfortably. That's what Medicare is covering.
I love that. They don't pay for motivation. I love that.
Yes, they don't pay for motivation. They don't pay for wellness. They don't pay for accountability. They don't pay for those things. They pay for getting you from a certain point to a secondary point where you're either more independent or you're maintaining. And I think I saw a comment about maintenance. So maintenance therapy is another thing that we can do with patients, and I will explain that later on because I'm not sure who the user is because it says Facebook user.
Yeah, it's Kimberly.
Oh, Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly.
Asked this, so thank you, Kimberly, for your question.
So that was the answer to that question. So let's address this one. I do maintenance with my neuro patients, with my MS patients. My neuros like it, and Kimberly, the same with us. So our practice, we see typically Parkinson's patients. And with Parkinson's, we all know it's a neurodegenerative disorder where unfortunately people are kind of getting functional decline. And sometimes patients or clients can benefit from physical therapy to maintain their level and to prevent more functional decline. So in those cases, in the past, Medicare won't pay for those. But now Medicare would pay for maintenance if you can justify that this maintenance is something that you have to do, and this is helping the patient to keep their level of function or to prevent them from declining from where they are right now. So maintenance is a good one.
Nice.
So here's a good question. Actually, I love this question. I love all these questions. I'm going to say I love these questions all the time. You know, to go on a quick sidebar, I have a patient that I'm seeing who has a stroke. And every time I see him, I say, man, this is the best you've done, because honestly, it's the best he's done. You know, he's getting better. So I saw him on Tuesday and I said, man, this is the best you've done. He's like, you always tell me that. I'm like, well, it's true. You know, you're doing better and better. But anyway, that was my little sidebar.
You know, the amazing, incomparable Will Boyd, he thinks, is this just an amazing interview with you, Fitz? Thank you so much for dropping your knowledge. So.
Well, if Will thinks it's amazing, we can close out now, man. We're good.
That's right. Thank you, Will, for your
on a high note.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much, Will. So we have two more questions here. Well, three more questions here. So if I see a patient out of state, do I send the claim to Medicare in their state or Medicare in my state? So that's a good question. So to clarify this question, Medicare is Medicare. So Medicare is one big federal program. Right. What Medicare does is they employ MACs. These are Medicare contractors who will pay you. So when you're when we talk about submitting claims to Medicare, we're actually submitting these claims to that particular MAC. Each state has different MACs or different contractors that Medicare uses to pay us for the services. So, and some states have multiple MACs as well too. So you want to make sure that you, for example, in Florida, the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, the MAC is called First Coast Service Options. So this is a company that's contracted by Medicare that will get our claims, review our claims, and pay us. So when you're seeing a patient out of state, you want to submit to your MAC where you are. So the patient, for example, we're in Florida, we get lots of snowbirds. The patient comes from Georgia, for example. I think in Georgia, their MAC is Palmetto. That's who pays them. I will not, let's say the patient came to Florida as a snowbird, they need physical therapy. I see the patient, I am not going to submit that claim to the Palmetto MAC. I'm going to submit it to the MAC that I got registered with, to the one in Florida, First Coast. If you submit it, which this person did, if you submit it to the MAC in the other state, what's going to happen is Medicare is going to say, well, or the MAC will say, you're not contracted with us. We don't know who you are, because they don't. When you contracted, when you do your PCOS and everything, the very last part of the application asks you to put your MAC in, and they give you the drop down of your MAC. So you want to make sure you submit your claims to the MAC where you are located.
It's kind of like it's like I see that like the reverse of how like the professional athletes have to basically pay state tax in every single state where they play a game.
Yeah.
For the games that they played and the money that they earned in that state, they've got to pay state tax in that state. It's kind of like the reverse of that. Hey, the people from Minnesota, North Dakota, Brooklyn, they come down to Florida, and you treat them. You're gonna bill in Florida because that's where they are, even though they came from other states. So
yes, yeah, exactly. But that's a good point. That's a very good point.